You want to pick out the 30 series that's appropriate for your budget and what you're doing. But if you're playing demanding games of any type, 1440p 144 hertz requires like all of it. Think long and hard before you buy anything less than the 3080 Ti. It'll be expensive.
Yep.
It'll probably be $1,000 to $1,200. You'll probably whinge and complain and cringe and go, oh, that hurts. Let's take a walk and let me share a story and a thought for you. You currently have a GTX 1070. The 1070 was a pretty respectable value when it launched. The launch edition was $450, but within 6 months or so, the board partner cards started coming out. The initial ones were like $420, $430. Then we got $399, and eventually, although it did take a while, eventually they got down to like $380, $370.
Yep.
If you had bought one at launch for $450, you've had a fairly good value. You've had a nice card. Now, I realize you might have bought a used one, but go with me here. You bought a new one. If you had waited 6 months to get one for $50 less, you were pretty close to the release of the GTX 1080 Ti,
Yes.
which was $700.
Correct.
If at the launch of the 1080 Ti, your option was the 1070, the 1070 might have been down to $350 at that point. But that was many months after it launched.
Correct.
So you've used up part of its life. You could have bought it earlier,
Yes.
and you'd have had more time with it. But let's say that you doubled your spend and bought a 1080 Ti, and you'd spent $700 instead of $350, an extra $350, pretending you had it at the moment. How would you like to have a 1080 Ti today with your 1440p monitor instead of a 1070? The difference in performance would have mattered to you less back then, perhaps. But it'd be nice to have now. And it's not worth upgrading to. 1080 Ti's on eBay right now are going for way too much money. I wouldn't buy any of them at this point. They just cost too much. So if you had spent the extra money then you'd be less stressed over your card today. When the 3070, 3080, and 3080 Ti come out, you might look at the performance and go, yeah, I only need a 3070. Yes, but 3 or 4 years from now,
Yeah, you'll be.
the dollar cost average of its life by how much you can keep it, by the fact that a 1080 Ti today, by the way, hang on, I got a wrinkle for you. A 1070 is going for $200 today. A 1080 Ti is easily going for $400. There's a $200 residual value difference at a minimum between those cards.
Yep.
What was the original retail price difference between those two cards? When the 1080 Ti launched?
300?
$350.
350?
So $700 versus $350. But today, there's a $200 residual value difference.
Yep.
What's $350 minus $200?
150?
For $150, you could have had a 1080 Ti the past 3+ years.
Yep.
That's $50 a year. For $50, you could have been enjoying a 1080 Ti instead of a 1070. But $700, man, they're so expensive. It's double the money. They're not double the performance. Yes, but it's double the price on the back end. Now, I realize that some of you don't sell your parts. You give them away, you use them till they're functionally obsolete, you put them in your secondary machine. I get it. You might not do the mental equation of what you're going to sell it for on eBay. If you put it in your second computer, I promise you a 1080 Ti will last a lot longer than a 1070. Maybe your future point is another 3 or 4 years from now. Maybe it's 5 years, who knows? Maybe you don't care. Maybe your secondary machine is not a gaming machine. In which case, why do you need either one of them? But that's a separate conversation.
It is.
My point is, $700 for a 1080 Ti sounded really expensive 3 years ago versus $350 for a 1070. Because the 1080 Ti is not double the performance, but it's double the money. But now, when you can get $200 more for a 1080 Ti, it only cost you $150. Now, you had to have the money 3 years ago. I mean, it's a cash flow issue. If you were broke 3 years ago, this is a moot point. I get it. But if you can float the money, if it's beer money, if it's party on the weekend money, you are not wasting your money by buying a top-end card. If you can float the money, the day RTX 30 series launches, go buy yourself a 3080 Ti and go, holy crap, I've got the best graphics card money can buy, short of the Titans and the other stupid cards, and it will hold its value better, and the premium I'll pay, it'll be a little premium, won't be much. It potentially could be like $50 a year to have the fastest gaming graphics card in the world. What do you think?
Yes, but there's also something else to consider. View from Jay. So would the second-hand 2080 Ti be a good deal when the 30 series comes out? With what we talked about on Thursday with the Unreal Engine 5 and the detail that is going to be in your games?
30 series is going to have 400% more ray tracing performance and double the tensor core performance. I don't think the 20 series is going to age very well.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if you don't want the detail in your games, then...
The other problem is, if the 3070 is $499, and by all accounts, it may beat the 2080 Ti by 5%, depending on the game. And then you got to keep in mind that driver support will be longer for the 30 series than the 20 series. Now, that's not going to matter for the first couple of years. But 3 years from now, the drivers will be better on the 30 series. They'll stop optimizing for the older cards.
Correct. So you guys are going to have to give some real...
Do you realize that a year from now, the 2080 Ti will be worth $300?
Yeah. And it'll be missing a lot of
How
stuff.
many of you want to spend $1,200 on a 2080 Ti today, and a year from now it'll be worth $300? Maybe $350.
No deal.
Remind me to sell a couple of those.
Okay. Alrighty.
That's just gonna be obliterated.
It is.